If paramedics are called to your house for an emergency, will they have current and accurate information to treat you? If you were taken to the hospital but are unable to communicate, would medical personnel know how to contact your family or access insurance information? What if you were unable to tell the first responders of your medical condition? With the File for Life, they'll know. Simply fill out the yellow form and slip the completed form into the magnetic pouch and attach it to your refrigerator. Affix the red dots to the outside front and back doors of your home. Emergency medical responders need to know if you are a diabetic, have a pacemaker, have had a stroke, are on blood pressure medicine, epileptic, or have other health issues. This program is not only for senior citizens, but for families that have individuals with allergies, health issues, or other special medical needs. If you would like the Northport Fire Department to speak to your organization about the File for Life program, please contact us at 941-240-8150.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Northport, a View from Here. We have Sherry Willett with us this morning. Welcome, Sherry. She's with the Planning, Zoning, and Engineering Department, and we're going to talk about special event permits. And this is a requirement for, I guess, the health, safety, and welfare of our community when we have special events. So we start off with a little introduction and tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe your family, where you come from, and so that people get to know you.
Great. Thank you, Jean, for having me here today. I lived in Northport, well, actually 20 years, and I'm from originally Bristol, Connecticut, which is a small town. I've gone to school at State College of Florida, and I moved here when we only had the 4 stop signs, if you recall, over on Price and Sumter Boulevard.
Sure.
I've been with the city. This is starting my 6th year. And I love it. I love working for the city, and I love the community events that we have here.
Well, that's great. Well, let's get right into the special permit. Why do people need a permit?
Back in 2006, an ordinance was passed, and a special event is defined as something in the city that is less than 2 weeks in duration, which could limit the normal use. Now, to put that in layman's terms, examples of a special event is if we had a parade or an expo. Battle of the Bands is a big one. We actually just had the let's see,
bowls,
the Eco-Fest. Yes,
Super Bowls.
Yes, the Bowls of Hope.
Yeah,
the Bowls of Hope, which is a wonderful event that we had here right on the city green. A lot of people came. It just provides a big sense of community. Also, the Eco-Fest is coming up, and hopefully next year we're looking at the I Love Chocolate Festival, which we hope to be an annual event within the city.
I'm looking forward to that too. I like chocolate.
You love
This mall here is really good for events.
Yes, it is. It's in a unique location. It's very easily accessible. So as back in 2006, as the permit started, we needed some guidelines so that we could give the people in the community, what do you need? What are some of the things that you need to look for? A lot of it is location. Where am I going to have my special event? What is the layout going to be? There's a lot of information when people start planning this. They have good intentions. You know, oh, I want to have a fundraiser, you know, and I want to raise money, which is a wonderful cause. But when they don't look at the logistics, you know, how easily is it going to be accessed by the people? Will there be restrooms? Is there going to be food served? If there is food served, there are different entities that have to be met within the health department, their criteria, because we don't want to have a foodborne illness, because then the event will be actually negative. We don't want that. The layout of how they want to plan that, your site plan, where bathroom facilities, a lot of people don't think they need these items, but they do. What is a special event not? It is not something like for a personal birthday party, if somebody wants to have that, or a family anniversary, because that's not open and advertised to the public. That's not going to limit the normal use. If there is an event at the high school, like a football game where they have the concession, that is not a special event, because the purpose of the high school is to have these games. If a church wants to have their potluck supper, that would not be considered a special event, because mostly it was with the congregation. If they want to have signage, that's a whole nother issue too, and I think you'll probably get into that a little later.
Okay, and how do you start the process of getting a permit?
Okay, to start the process, it's very easy. We have simplified our process. We have automated it. You can actually download an application online at www.cityofnorthport.com. It has also frequently asked questions. You can download the application, fill it out as complete as possible, submit it to us along with appropriate information. We do have a checklist to make it easy, so if you do follow the steps and the procedures, it's pretty self-explanatory. What could disrupt the process or make it harder is if the information isn't filled out completely. That would put a stopgap into the process.
Mm-hmm. You had mentioned before something about a site plan. What is that, and what do you need to supply you with?
Yes, a site plan is a visual aid. It's a map of what your event is going to be. And this would involve, and it doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be a work of art. You just need to have blocks of where things are going to be. Say if you're going to have tents. We need to have the site plan of where the location of your event is. Mark the tents. Mark where the bathroom facilities, the garbage and the recyclables, because that's important also. Where ingress and egress, where can people enter to park and where can people leave? Because parking is very critical too. You want to make sure that the parking is laid out. So it's a diagram, if you will, of what your event is going to look like on paper.
Now, you're a city department. Are there other departments that the people have to notify and tell them that they're doing this, or?
Yes, as part of our review process, we send the application, once it's complete, to several departments, which includes police, fire rescue, public works, utilities department, and of course the building department if there are any tents. What these departments do is review it within their area of expertise to see what items they're looking for. Fire rescue obviously would be looking for where is the safe way for a fire rescue truck to come in. If there is cooking that is going to be done during your event, they do an inspection, which is $75. If they need to have, if it's a large event over 1,000 people, if we're talking 10,000 people, this is a larger event. So they would probably need to have emergency personnel on standby in case somebody gets hurt or injured. Police usually look for parking issues, making sure that the layout of the parking is safe, that there is people that will direct the parking, because especially if you have children, we don't want our children to get hurt. We want it to be a safe event. Public Works and our solid waste division, which is in Public Works, they want to make sure that the trash will be picked up and that recyclables are utilized. The building department does check if they're tents. Only if they're large tents over 20 by 60 feet, then, and if it's an enclosed tent, then there is an inspection. There's also a cost for the permit, which is $109.80. And I know we're not getting into cost, but it's just, I guess I want the people to realize that if you do need these services based on your event, this is part of your planning process, that there is some costs that are involved.
Yeah. Well, of course, costs are always important to folks, so it's important to know what some of the costs are. Do you have to contact the county for anything?
Yes, you do. If you are serving food, yes, you need to contact the county health department. Also, if you have to rent porta potties, which if there isn't enough on-site bathroom facilities, to make sure and that is based on a formula on how many people are attending your event, which is how many porta potties that you will need to have at your event. Also, if there's alcoholic beverages served, then we have to contact Alcohol, Beverage, and Tobacco with the state of Florida that is located in Fort Myers to see what their criteria is for a special alcohol permit. So we have the health department, that department. Also Verizon would be helpful too, especially if there's signs or if you're going to have bounce houses or tents, because you could puncture an underground wire. So it is
with the stakes that they drive in the ground.
So people don't
Never,
think about
never would have
that.
thought of that.
So people don't think
Yeah,
about that. So these are some
Sprinkler
of the
systems,
items.
everything.
Yes. And what we like to do, the city of Northport, we like to, we partner, plan, and prevent. We like to partner with the applicant, not that we're sponsoring the event, but kind of help them and guide them of what are some of the pitfalls within their event to help them plan it so it is a successful event. Also, the planning part of it, what are some of the items that they need to look for? And prevention, of course, is preventing injury and safety. We don't police the events. This is not what we do to a police events. We want a successful event.
When you say
within the
police,
city.
police could mean anything from cleaning up to having the
us
chief of police
policing.
there.
No, us policing, where you're saying, okay, you can't, you have to have this permit or a special event. We want people to have activities, that are private. Of course, if you're going to have your wedding, we don't want to intrude. We don't want to be intrusive government. But if you are going to have a big event, say a circus or a fair or a carnival, we need to look at it from a safety perspective. Everybody has good intentions, but if you don't have proper planning, injuries could occur, and we don't want to have a negative event in the city.
Yeah, you always want a positive.
Yes.
That's what it's intended to be,
This is
positive.
true.
So it'd be nice to have. One of the other things is signage. Now I know signage from being a realtor and everything else over the years. It gets to be a real problem for a lot of people because they just arbitrarily stick signs all over the place in the middle of medians and people's lawns and everything else. What's your criteria for signs for events like this?
For special events, we allow up to 25 signs, maximum feet 16 square feet. Usually the real estate signs that you were talking about. We do look at the signage to make sure it's aesthetically pleasing. It does have the point of what the event is, the date and the time, and limit it to that. We try to discourage the sign clutter. Although you are allowed up to 25 signs, you're not necessarily going to get them. Signs should be strategically placed more or less as directional to get to your event, not as advertising or publicity for the event. That should be done in another venue, whether with TV advertising. I know it's expensive, but maybe with the local, they might, if it's a community service, they would probably do a free blurb for you. Advertising in the newspaper, flyers, maybe at the different community centers. Word of mouth is always the best way to get your event out to the public.
Yeah, I think I think you need to do it through the paper and through word of mouth and through your organizations that you can spread the word around, and
Yes.
it's very important. How do we stack up with the other municipalities as far as running an event and the permitting thereof?
Well, our permits, there's no cost for our permits. They are free of charge. The application process is free of charge. If you have to involve the other departments for any needed services, then there are charges that could incur. We do not have money in the budget for these special events. It's not something that is allocated into our budget. If you are using a city service for your event, that's an unexpected expense, so the applicant is responsible for those costs. That being said, too, so that's why you want to be careful in the planning process. With the other cities, we are very friendly. We are very user-friendly. We do have, you can see your process of your application online. If you go to the Planning and Zoning Department on the city website and you check and see planning and zoning permits, that's all called our click to gov. They could actually see how far in the process that the permit is, so they could track that. So we do have that automated system. We're constantly trying to upgrade and make the process easy and simple for the applicant. They have the stress of trying to put on the event. We're hoping to alleviate some of that stress by trying to streamline the process and make it simple for them. Other municipalities, some of their applications look like the book War and Peace. I looked at them and they were almost 1,000 pages, and I was like, well, no wonder people are intimidated. Ours is only 5 pages, And we do have a checklist. I'm always there to answer any questions, and I'm always happy to help.
On the average, how many events do you have to permit for over the course of a year?
Over a course of a year, I think we've done over 100.
Really?
Yes, we do have our little standard ones, our little standard events that, like the Moose Club. Every year they have their annual hayride. I love it. That is one of our identities of our city, is the hayride. And they know the process down pat. They have every item that I need. That takes a week with the review. But if you have a larger event like the Eco Fest, you're expecting a lot of people, the application should be submitted at least 60 days in advance. So that way we could do a clear review, take our time, and not rush.
Okay. If an organization was doing it on their property, do they still need go through all the permitting?
Only if it's open and advertised to the public and it limits the normal use. What does that mean? If they're having it, say at the Moose Club, they're having a little event, that's the normal course of business. However, if they're going to have overflow parking, that's a parking issue, that's a police issue. If they want to have signage, there's the trigger for the special event.
Okay. We have 30 seconds left for a few comments from yourself. What do you have to say, Sherry?
Yes, we love your special events. We love to have them in the city. They are the tapestry of what makes our community unique and rich and wonderful.
Okay, that's wonderful, and we appreciate having them. With that, thank you very much, Sherry, for coming here. It's certainly opened my eyes to what needs to be done. And with that, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next time.